new executive order just dropped, and it's terrifying. The Trump administration signed an order called Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. That sounds good, right? But here's what it really does. It allows the government to forcibly institutionalize people with mental illnesses, addiction, or anyone who can't care for themselves, especially if they're homeless. It punishes cities that don't criminalize urban camping, loitering, or drug use, and it defunds harm reduction programs in favor of forced treatment, surveillance, and civil commitment. Let me translate that. They're not fixing crime. They're redefining who counts as a threat. Being poor, unhoused, or mentally ill is now considered a public safety crisis. Not something to help, but something to lock up. And the worst part, this order makes it easier for states to override consent, collect private health data, and sweep people off the streets with almost no due process. This isn't law and order. This is some kind of an authoritarian control wrapped in compassion speak. What do you think?
Trump just signed a truly terrifying executive order to bring back forced institutionalization. Yep, you heard that right. It's truly terrifying and no one is talking about it. I'm Eliza Orland's career public defender for 15 years in Manhattan, and we have to talk about the executive order that they're calling Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. This order specifically targets unhoused people, people with mental illnesses, and people who use drugs. It calls the hundreds of thousands of people experiencing homelessness on a single night endemic vagrancy and frames them as threats to public safety. Trump is using fear to justify locking them away under what he calls civil commitment, aka forced confinement. Here's what the order actually does. First, it directs the Attorney General to overturn federal and state court decisions that protect people from involuntary confinement, essentially gutting due process rights that took decades to secure. Second, it ends housing first policies that have actually worked to reduce homelessness. Instead, it forces people to accept treatment whether they want it or not as a condition of receiving federal housing aid. Third, it prioritizes federal grants for states that enforce bans on urban camping, loitering, and squatting, aka criminalizing the simple act of existing without a shelter. Fourth, it expands civil commitment to anyone deemed a danger to themselves or others, or who cannot care for themselves. Language so vague, it could quite literally apply to anyone experiencing a crisis. This is not about safety or compassion. The order literally says the goal is to protect public safety by removing people from public view. This is about controlled criminalization and disappearing poverty, not solving it. This is mass incarceration 2.0, only now it's dressed up in fake compassion and medical language. We've seen this before. In the era of massive state hospitals, warehousing, and forced sterilization, and we know how this ends. As a career public defender, I've seen what happens when governments use the courts to cage, confine, and criminalize instead of care. If you're as horrified as I am, share this video and follow me. If you're interested, I can break down every section of this executive order piece by piece, because this isn't just cruel, this is calculated, and we need to understand exactly what we're fighting against.